Oh my god. Oh, so sometimes you just gotta take the L's when they come. Oh my god, I just did an entire opening. I was getting ready to go right on into the show. Oh. What's up, what's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, back for take two of MVP Games Live for Wednesday, October 6th. If you... Tuesday. I said Wednesday again, didn't I? I'm living in an alternate reality, Soapy, where I think it's Wednesday. Tuesday, October 6th, 2020. I am completely broke right now because if you are on YouTube, you obviously are not seeing this because I'm not going to add like 3 minutes of silence to the beginning of this video. But yeah, Ricky's an idiot. And I basically went through the entire opening until JD in Twitch chat was like, hey, can't hear y'all. And I was like, fuck, I forgot to unmute the mics. So I'm joined, as I always am, for this train wreck with my beautiful co-host, Soapy Muffin.
Hey.
Oh, man. And this is just one Soapy where it's like, I got this from Greg Miller. He loved to say it, and it's a great term. Today's just how the sausage is made. You're looking at how the sausage is made. And we're not perfect people here at MVP, but let's get into
speak for yourself.
Let's get into the housekeeping right away. We got some big housekeeping today. Number one, I'll go through it again because you didn't hear me the first time, is that tomorrow, Wednesday, we will not be having games live. Soapy and I are canceling the show. We've got a special wrestling podcast that we're going to do. I'm going to keep it secret about exactly what we're going to do. But we have a special episode of our wrestling podcast that we are doing tomorrow. That is going to take a little bit of time, longer than usual. So we're going to have to cancel that just a little bit. So Games Live will be back on Thursday. We're taking a Wednesday, a hump day hiatus, you can call it.
Hump day.
But the normal housekeeping's the same. Join the Discord if you haven't already. Link down below if you're on YouTube. Link in Twitch chat. Twitch, all you got to do is exclamation Discord at any time. Get that link into the Twitch chat. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVP vids is how you go ahead and do that. We got bronze, silver, gold, and platinum tiers for any amount you would like to support us. You can also throw us a sub at Twitch, which we are live at every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVP vids, but we're also on YouTube as well. Exclusive content goes up there at MVP Entertainment is where you go ahead and search for that one. So go ahead, like, sub, follow all of us at all the places. But Soapy, we got a good show today. We got a very nice topics for some unique topics, I will say. It's not a jam-packed show, but it's just one of those shows where it's like the world's giving you exactly what you need at this point. And I was going to do this on my computer, but fuck it. I'll pull out the old tablet. Usually I like tabby tablet is what I meant to say, but it came out tablet, which was like, I just sound like an idiot for repeating myself. But the first thing we're talking about, Soapy, is now, how do I put this? Is this something that's going to blow people's socks off? No. But when I saw this, it piqued something in my mind to where it's like, I never thought of it. And we're kind of asking the question of, can Nintendo treat their Switch as a forever console? Where this article's coming from Video Game Chronicle, and it says, Nintendo could continuously iterate Switch like iPhone, investment firm predicts. A pair of investment firms have predicted that Nintendo will attempt to break free from the cyclical hardware cycle and adopt an iPhone-like approach with future Switch iterations. Nintendo Switch is currently enjoying one of its most successful periods in its recent history, which shares up 30% in 2020 and in range of an all-time record high, Bloomberg reports. However, the publication notes that many investors believe the platform holder could enjoy even greater growth if it broke free from the console cycle, which typically sees its reset its user base every 5 or 6 years, which could allow it to continue to grow Switch's 61 million players for an extended period of time. Like iPhone, new versions of Switch could be backwards compatible with all games released so far while becoming more powerful and adding additional features, it said. With every console generation, the install base resets to 0, and their earnings power essentially resets to 0. Tonetron of investment manager 10 West Investors told Bloomberg. Tran added that he believed Nintendo can break free by releasing a new, more powerful Switch every few years, as Apple does with iPhone. They can continuously have an install base and say 100 million consoles out there. That just moves along over time. Nintendo has repeatedly referenced extending Switch's lifespan beyond its previous consoles. Soapy, what is your thought about this? Where could the Switch be the first console that we haven't seen in a while to where it's kind of like the iPhone that you get, where it's like, yeah, there's a new Switch every couple years, but you don't necessarily have to upgrade. To where it's like, when I thought of that, I think of iPhones, where it's like, some people keep their iPhones for like 6 years, 10 years before upgrading, to where could a game company make that work to where it's like, if you want to upgrade to the new one, you can every 4 years. But even if you don't, you're not missing out on games. And even if you do, you're not missing out of like, well, I can play the new games, but I can't play the old games.
Yeah, and honestly, if Nintendo wants to do that, Nintendo could be the one company that can get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, obviously, I know some people would probably be like, oh, like, Xbox and PlayStation are kind of like that, except they're not. It's weird. Like, the lifetime console stuff is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially when you hear lifetime, it's like, you would think of PlayStation and Xbox, because it's like, every couple years, a new one comes out.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Because then, for instance, like, I almost would say the consoles compare more to the iPhone and like Samsung phones, because for instance, it's like, oh, the Galaxy 8, the Galaxy 8 Plus, iPhone 8.
You had to throw in Android, didn't you?
Yeah,
you just had to throw it in there.
I'm sorry, Android's the superior phone. That's not my fucking bad. But
go ahead.
Of how, for instance, like, there's different iterations of the same phone. Like, it could kind of be conceived as that. Like, I think Nintendo could try something like that.
Mm-hmm.
My only thing is, like, Nintendo's one of those companies, it takes them a while to do shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if Nintendo, I don't want to say their workload, but, like, I don't know if Nintendo would be willing to do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just because it's, like, the Switch has been out for how many years? Like 4? I mean, maybe not 4, but...
I think longer. I think a little longer than that. But, like, you're thinking of it of, like, how... You're thinking of it of like how many years are in between iPhone to iPhone, where I'm thinking of it where think about it exactly what Apple does. Let's say 3 to 4 years in between phones.
It's been out 3 years, by the way.
Okay, 3 years. 3 or 4 years in between phones. Sometimes even less than that, I think. But Nintendo, they can stretch that window to where it's like, whenever they feel like they need an update to the console, they can make it, but they can treat it like Apple treats their iPhone, to where it's like, yeah, we're not coming out with one every 3 or 4 years, but when we do come out with one, you don't have to feel A, like you need to buy it, and B, if you do buy it, you don't have to basically feel to where it's like, well, great, now I can't go ahead and play my older games because I have the new one, to where it's like, you have just a better performing console. You can just, that's basically the only difference, is you have one that can perform better, but necessarily does not mean you can't play newer Switch games if you don't make that jump to the next version of the Switch.
Yeah. And a little fun fact, the Xbox One, the original one, is almost coming, but it's being 7 years old.
Shit.
Yeah. Same with the Wii U.
Shit.
And I think in 7 more days, the Nintendo 2DS will be 7 years old as well.
Nice. I'm looking up right now. Let's see. The iPhone with how many they came out with. So let's see. I'm going to look recent history. So we have the iPhone 11 was 2019. The iPhone 10 was 2017. So about 2 years between generations. Like it was 2 years between the 10 and the 11. iPhone, those were pluses. The iPhone 6, let's see. Yeah, about 2 years between the 7 and the X. You've got 2 years between. Yeah, so iPhones are like every 2 years you get a new iPhone. So that's why 2020 might be your Apple comes out with one. I don't think Nintendo has to do that, though. They don't have to give us a new Switch every 2 years. But I look at the Switch and I look at what it is and I look at Nintendo as a company and I was like, that could be right up their alley, because how many Switch games really need how many Switch games are like, man, this game could look 10 times better graphically if it had a new next-gen system? Like, not many. Like, Mario looks good, and it's just like, maybe it's because that's how I view the Nintendo franchises, of like, it's more about the gameplay and the characters and the mascot rather than how it looks on your Switch screen.
Yeah, and I think something like that is achievable.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think, like, I don't want to make it seem like I'm breezing through this. It's more or less of just like, I don't know how to tackle this type of topic, because the whole thing is like, they can do that.
Do you think it would be a smart decision for them to do, though? Like, because they would be the first one to do it.
Yeah, I think it'd be a smart idea, because then, for instance, it's Nintendo is then still staying relevant. Obviously, Nintendo's going to stay relevant no matter what. Mm-hmm. But, like, they're guaranteeing, like, they're going to stay in people's mind, because then people are going to speculate, like, oh, when's the next Switch coming out? When's the next Switch coming out?
Yeah.
Like, when the new Xbox and PlayStation come out, we're not going to be questioning, like, okay, how many years down the line are we getting this?
Yeah, we kind of know that, okay, this is the beginning of it.
It'll be about 7 or so years.
Yeah. Let's move on then, because that's just one where it's like, it's an interesting thing, and like Nintendo, I could see doing that. It's just would the fan base be up for it? Because like it'd be a shift in the gaming culture. The next one though was a big story that came out late yesterday. Was Cyberpunk 2077 release date nears as game goes gold. This is from Tom's Hardware. As much anticipation, Cyberpunk 2077 has officially gone gold, meaning that the publisher has declared the game finished and good enough to go to the CD printing press so that physical copies can be shipped to retailers in time for launch. And they put the tweet from Cyberpunk game that says, Cyberpunk 2077 has gone gold, with a gold CD emoji. See you in Night City on November 19th, with a picture of Keanu Reeves' character holding up a golden disc, and it's yellow background, and it says gold. Soapy, how does this make you feel with all the thing we saw about crunch? Does this make you feel relieved about the game? Does this make you feel, are you still nervous because you're like, oh man, there was crunch coming into this? What is your thought with Cyberpunk going gold?
I mean, I'm happy with it. I almost wonder if the crunch they were talking about was like printing out CDs and stuff like that, because maybe they thought there was more work than they actually thought.
Okay.
Like, I think that may be what it was, is like maybe they saw a lot of bugs and they're like, oh shit, like we're not going to be able to finish all these, and it may have just been like, oh, they changed one thing and all of them fixed or something like that. Obviously, I mean, that'd be the fucking absolute like peak.
I would agree with you, except for, as the article states also, but of course there's a catch. CD Projekt Red currently has standing orders for developers to work 6-day weeks to get the game ready in time for launch on November 19th. So like for me, the crunch is like, if it's for developers, that means, okay, there's stuff with the game. That's why like I like the wording where it's like, it's good enough to print. Like, that's why I'm still nervous about this, to where it's like, just because it's good enough to print doesn't mean it's good enough to blow me away and rock my socks on the 19th.
Yeah, and I mean, and obviously we're going to get a day one patch. It would not surprise me.
Just because it's a CD Projekt Red game?
Well, no, because every game launches with a fucking day one patch, so
Good
I have
point.
to install it, and then
Yep.
and I have to wait 3 hours afterwards to play the game, and then I'm
Good
like,
point.
okay, cool, now I gotta go to fucking bed.
Good point. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not insanely skeptical of it. I have enough faith in CD Projekt Red that they're not gonna fuck this up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, there is the belief in my head of there is crunch. Like, I'm worried about that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, Witcher 3 was crunched, and that game is arguably one of the best games of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I got enough faith in them that they're not going to fuck this up.
Yeah.
And I really want to see what they do with it, because I think, the only thing I am worried about is how buggy the game's going to be at launch.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously, that will kill some people's enjoyment of the game.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, especially where it's like, how many times have I played a game where it's like, if you get it on launch, Anthem's probably the best example I can have of that, of playing I don't even know if it was a beta or an alpha. I think it was a beta where they did a beta weekend. Dave was like, download it so we can play. And I remember playing it and I was like, holy shit, this feels great being Iron Man, fucking flying around, shooting shit, playing as the different ones. And that's when I got the game, it was one of those where the first day I necessarily didn't have fun playing it, to where I'm I made the decision of just you know what? My friends aren't playing it. I didn't have fun doing it. This game isn't worth my time. It already took my money, to where I looked elsewhere. Look at even BFA for World of Warcraft, where that was more than a day, but after a little bit, I was I ain't having fun playing this expansion. Boom, I quit WoW for a while until I was I'm just going to quit until Classic comes out. No need to waste my money playing an expansion that I don't really want to play. And then I dove into Classic kind of head on. I hope this game is good. I want this game to be good. All the hype that's been going around it, with me, it's yet again, it could just be the journalist here phrasing it a little weird. I mean, just because it's good enough to be printed doesn't mean it's good enough to exceed expectations. But I'm hoping for the best, that Cyberpunk will basically be a good game when it launches on the 19th of November. We're about just over a month away from that game being released. Soapy, the third thing we're moving on into, and all four of these today, I knew today wasn't going to be a rock-shopped 40-minute show. This is going to be a shorter show than usual just because of the news that's out there. But journalists say, this is from Video Game Chronicle as well, journalist says Xbox Series X can get hot like a fireplace. The latest Xbox Series S media impressions have expressed surprise at the amount of heat the console emits, with one journalist even appearing to burn his hand on its storage expansion during a live stream. It's not unusual for high-end console and PC hardware to emit significant amounts of heat, especially well-cooled devices like Microsoft and Sony's new consoles appear to be. The Xbox Series X in particular has been designed to create strong airflow, though its top and rear vents via a large 130mm fan, which journalists and content creators praised last week for its quiet operation. In a new video discussing his experience with the Series X, Zhu Video Ken Bogard echoed others' praise for the quietness of the console's cooling system, but expressed surprise at how much heat the console emits as a result. He said, "The Series X is hot, really hot. It doesn't make any noise, but damn, it's hot. The console emitting heat like crazy. It's almost like a fireplace shaft. You could heat up your flat with it." Bogard went on to note that the heat his pre-release console had admitted was generated entirely while playing backwards compatible games and navigating menus as he does not currently have access to any Xbox Series X titles. Soapy, what is your thought on this? You're the Xbox guy. You're the one that's going to be getting the Series X before me. Does this concern you? Is this something that you're like, well, you know what? I kind of expect this with kind of where the hardware is. And if this is to be expected, how do you counteract this? Or is there a way? Is this just something to where it's like, well, looks like we just have to deal with it?
Yeah, I'm concerned in the aspect of I'm almost worried that this could basically be like the new Red Ring of Death, but more of like more a serious, like this is just gonna fuck up everything on the inside of the computer.
Yeah, no,
or not computer, but like in the inside of the console. So these are basically computers at this point.
I'm gonna cut you off for 1 second because I'm gonna tell a story of. Did I ever tell you the story about how my original big PlayStation 3 died?
No.
So what happened was I was playing it, and this was also a lesson in me, younger Ricky, a lot younger Ricky. Fuck, that was about what, around 12 years ago? Because what, 6 years ago was the PS4, and then 6 years before that, if we're just going rounded. So like what, about around 18-year-old Ricky. I was fucking playing the NBA 2K with Jordan on the cover. So like I had the console for a while. And I'll be honest, I did not take the best care of undusting the vents. I just let the PlayStation go because all my other consoles before that, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, never really had to worry about that. And one time I'm playing the game and it was weird. My screen just like got really dim, like it was fading away. And then the game just disappeared. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? I'm like, the on button's still on. So I turn it off, I turn it back on. Nothing is turning on. And I'm freaking out because I'm like, I got to get this game out of the system. Well, what I found out after I went into my backyard, and basically I'm at this point, I'm like, the console is a brick. I have to get a new one. Which I got the newer version of the PS3 at that point. I'm like, I got to break this open so I can get my disc out of here because I'm not going to buy fucking another NBA 2K. And when I cracked the fucker open, you know what I had found out happened? Inside it overheated to where the fucking, like it's not, maybe it is alkaline, I don't even know. Like the actual batteries that power the system bursted, and there was white foam all over the inside of my PlayStation to where it just went pop and basically exploded to where I almost think could the Xbox Series X, if it gets hot enough over time, have an issue like this where, hey, maybe this is something they're going to have to look at. And if you get it on launch, you're just going to have to deal with it. And maybe your console dies after 3 years. But then the next Series X, they look at it and they fix this problem.
Yeah, and I think it's also just, this is, I'll use this as a place to basically give a public service announcement.
Yep.
Please clean your consoles.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I learned
no one
that
wants to see no one wants to see your dusty ass PlayStations or Xboxes. No one wants to see your dusty ass computer. Mm-hmm. Just wipe that bad boy down. That's all you gotta do. You just make sure the vents are clean.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to hear about, like 3 months after I got my Xbox, it fucking blew up. I don't want to fucking hear that, because then they're like, okay, well, was it clean? Like, no, that son bitch was dusty.
What if it blows up after 3 months and it was clean, though? Like, could
well, then that's the Xbox's fault. Well, but if, that thing looks like a fucking brick of dust.
I'm just asking, Soapy, because could that be a problem if it's getting as hot as a fireplace?
I mean, yeah, like there's always that problem, but that's just my whole thing. Is I'm already prepped. People are like, I didn't clean my Xbox. The next thing I know, that son bitch blew up. Someone's gonna do that.
Impression. I love it.
Like someone's gonna do that, and it's just like, dude, just learn how to clean your console. Like, holy fuck, it's not that hard. It literally doesn't take long. Take a feather duster or something. Clean that bad boy off.
Yeah.
If I look at your PlayStation, I look like I just pulled this thing out of a fucking tomb.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got something wrong.
The question I will ask you is, basically, when you look at it, is okay. So the way I'm going to phrase this is, if you have an Xbox, Soapy, would you rather it be loud as hell, but staying cool, or nearly no sound, but gets as hot as a fireplace?
I'd rather it be quiet but hot because I have a fan in my room and I don't sleep with my Xbox on. So
Yeah, like I almost have a thought of like, have we gotten to the point where we care more about it being quiet? Obviously, because if you're streaming, you don't want but basically in the background, to where it's like, well, fuck, I just got my ear
hey man, that's my
jammed out.
fucking lullaby. I live by a fucking train station whose sound don't matter to me anymore.
Just a fan going on in the background while you're trying to either record gameplay or you're trying to stream. So it's like, I understand why quietness is a necessity, but it's like, have we gotten to the point where it's either we have it quiet and the system gets hot as hell, or we basically have the fan do its job, but hey, it's going to make fucking noise.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things of you're never going to find that perfect balance. Because even that, it's like, for instance, like PCs get loud.
Yep.
Like it's
loud as hell.
A lot of, like, I know there's going to be people that will come in and be like, oh, well, PC doesn't do that. It's like, well, no, get over it. Because they do.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that, like, obviously it's a personal preference. Like, I'd rather my console get hot because it's one of those things that, like, if it gets way too fucking hot, I can just turn it off and wait a little bit. I'm not one of those people like, I have to be on my console 24/7 or I'm gonna fucking die. It's like, no, I can go sit out in my living room and watch Netflix with my mom or something, and then listen to how she doesn't understand what's happening on the TV, so I have to explain everything.
Okay. Soapy, the next thing we're getting into on the spreadsheet, I have to go ahead and fix that link for you, because the one that was in there was not the video that I wanted to showcase, because we've got a brand new trailer. This one came out, let me see the date on it. Came out today, actually. NBA 2K21 released their next-gen gameplay reveal, where the entire trailer, if you have not seen it already, is basically there's the train. Between the Mavericks and the Warriors, you got Luka coming out of the tunnel. You got gameplay of Steph Curry with the teeth guard in his mouth, Klay Thompson hitting threes, and everything I'm seeing about this is, holy shit, the game looks awesome. Holy shit, the game is amazing. This is just what we're going to expect from next gen. I will say, the players look phenomenal, to where it's like, if this is the actual gameplay that I am seeing, like, this is a big jump from the 4 to the 5, because apparently this was recorded on a PlayStation 5. Soapy, what is your thought to the new gameplay reveal from 2K about a month before we get the next-gen consoles in November?
I mean, dude, it's actually fucking insane how good it looks.
Like, I wanted to make a sweat joke of like, oh, they just look sweaty.
I mean, dude, this time they don't even just look sweaty. Like, they actually just look detailed.
Yeah.
Because, I'm trying to remember. I think it was Ball is Life is what I saw it on Twitter. Was they had, like, screenshots of, what they basically, since Curry showed up in the trailer and they prominently showed him off.
Like last year to this year?
Oh, no, they showed, like, older game, then to, like, a slightly older game, to a newer game, to the new one. And I'm, like, at first I was like, obviously, I fucking knew, like, they were showing screenshots of a game. Like, they weren't going to put an actual picture of Steph Curry, but, like, if I wasn't going and paying attention, I'd be like, holy fuck, I'm like, Curry kind of looks a little weird.
Yeah.
But, like, not in a way of, like, oh, like, that looks fucking ugly, of, like, what's different about Curry today?
Yeah. The one thing that I've seen people comment, and I'm watching it again, is the fans. Like, I think the big thing to me is the fans actually look real, to where it doesn't just look like bodies in the seats that, like, oh, they're just pixelated crap. The JD called it too. Fucking Mark Cuban in the game. Mavs are my new favorite team. They're the team I'll play with nonstop in 2K21, because when Luka comes out, they actually got fucking Mark Cuban in the game, and I think that is fucking awesome. Unless somebody corrects me, I don't think he was in last year's game. I don't remember him being in games that I played because I've taken a couple of years off. That was fucking awesome to actually see Mark Cuban. Was it exactly like Mark Cuban? There's a little part of me that's like, okay, Mark Cuban looks a little weird, but fuck it. Mark Cuban's in the game. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's I'm watching through it again, and obviously this is more or less of just a person I saw. I'm like, son of a bitch, the assistant coach from fucking last game's back, and I fucking hated that assistant coach. He's an asshole to you for like fucking until you're a good player. I fucking hate that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is promising. Like, even with this alone, like, just think of the other games that are coming out. I can't wait, and I hope that somebody, Best Buy, Walmart, GameStop, somebody emails me soon and is like, hey, we've got some more pre-orders because I really want my PS5, Soapy, and I'm kind of thinking that I'm not going to be able to play it on launch day like I want to. I'm getting a little nervous with this. But, Soapy, any final thoughts on anything we talked about today?
No, that's really it.
All right. Thank you guys for checking out the show. As always, remember, join the Discord, link down below in the description. Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/MVPvids. You can also throw us a sub on Twitch, where we're live every Monday through Friday at twitch.tv/MVPvids. We're also on YouTube at MVP Entertainment. Remember the announcement from before. Games Live will be canceled tomorrow. Soapy and I are going to be recording some other stuff that's going to kind of bleed into the time. So instead of being like, hey, we're going to give you a shortened show that's not really up to par of what we want to do, we're just going to take a little hump day hiatus. We'll be back for you on Thursday with more gaming news. For those of you on Twitch, Sports Live with Dave and I is coming up next. And as always, have a good day, everybody.
Bye.